Wow.
Howdy.
Howdy. Oh, I like that. Howdy. That might have to be a thing now. So we are graced because Kath's on her jolly and we're going to have to discuss Jamie. But we're really, really lucky because last week we had Nikki, didn't we? Lovely Nikki Gerard. She stepped in and she said, oh, I'd love to help. And she loved it. And people come back and said how natural it all was. So we're going to have another natural one now. And this time we've got...
Is it happening there or there?
Both. Oh, it's happening both.
Yeah, both.
Exactly. We've got the lovely Mike Willis.
Hello, good morning.
Strummer.
Oh, I didn't bring it.
You didn't bring it.
No.
That's all right. You can just chat.
Well, yeah, I can chat.
You're good at chatting.
We can chat.
We can chat. So good morning. We're going to toast this morning.
Cheers.
So week 15. I don't know when I'm going to stop saying what week it is. I don't think it matters, does it? Nah.
It's only been 15.
I know. It feels like longer. It feels like we've become part of the thread of the town, really, woven in.
Maybe stop numbering it.
Maybe stop numbering it.
Yeah, it's just
no, keep going.
No, I like that. It's a triumph. It's
Sorry,
a triumph.
outvoted.
I feel like the drummer saying, let's play one of my songs.
Yeah.
So
Shut up, Ringo!
Mr. Starkey. So Rax, hello, Mr. Solanki. He's just taking the camera today. Because we've got, you know how things work where they're not as intended. So the lovely Jamie Diath, our videographer, Mr. Movie Maker, he flew out to Milan, like you do. How bougie is that? To do a big job at La Scala, which is a really good job. And then he gave us a ring and he said, you know, I'm supposed to be back. He said, I've checked out of my hotel. He said, and the job has changed. He said, so I have got to stay. So we've got videos of Jamie, which we may share with you, actually, of him in Milan, because the football is on, and Jamie's a big football fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's out there, and he's like, I've got nowhere to sleep. And I've got to finish the job, and because it's full because of the football.
Jamie.
It's classic Jamie, isn't it? So we're going to toast you, Jamie, the lovely, lovely Jamie Diaz, because Kath's on her way back, so we know that's happening. So, oh God, that tea's so good. Oh, what's happened this week? So much. Oh, I have to give a shout out. I made a new friend.
Go on.
So you sounded all English there. Go on.
I can't.
Go on.
If I try, it doesn't come out right. I come out like Dick Van Dyke. But occasionally it just pops out of me. It's Britishness,
the Britishness, you kind of like, you're almost there, aren't you? So, try again, Pats. Saturday, I will discuss the lovely DFL, the last of the hexology by Hastings Theatre project. But we went to that, but we met the lovely, I do this all the time, Justina Kachansky and Joe. They pop up everywhere. So a bit like when you've got people that pop up, a bit like Dan DeMar, just is always floating past. The American John Knowles is always floating past.
Yeah.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's that 6 degrees of separation. So Justina and Joe were at the earlier showing on the Saturday, and then we went to the little drinky at the end, and there was one of these spontaneous, hey, what you doing? Have you got plans later? No. Let's go to town. So we went to number 40 on Norman Road, as you know. Yeah. And we're sitting in the window, we've ordered and we're sitting in the window, and they were like 4 little dollies sitting in the window in the high chairs. And there's this frantic waving from the other side of the road, from Real, Kino's cafe, restaurant, sorry. And this woman's like this. And I'm looking and I said, is that Cheryl? Because I see these big glasses, is that Cheryl? I wonder who that is, whoever they're waving and just thinking really joyful. So of course I leave our guests, our people we're with, shoot across the road and meet a new friend. So Marion, bonkers, wonderful, and her daughter Phoenicia was just sitting there having a cup of tea, and she said, "You came over, I'm so happy." She said, I'd probably come over to you if you hadn't. So, but we just had a waving party at each other.
I like waving from separate restaurants on Norman Road.
Yeah.
It's a sign of the times.
It is. It just signs it's out. She's a kindred spirit. So hello, Marion. At some point you're going to see this because she said, "Oh, I want to look at your podcast." So yeah, it was lovely. It was really, really nice. So a bit of a highlight of the evening. Number 40 was very nice. Yeah.
I think that's probably my go-to, like, drink after a day of work place now. Sylvia behind the bar, he's a good friend.
Yes. He's been in many places, hasn't he, Sylvia?
Yeah. I think he was like nearly a professional footballer or something.
Oh gosh, what a life.
Mm.
You couldn't live here and not have a coloured past, could you?
No, I think St Leonards and Hastings is where you just sort of like, all the weird people have run out of land.
They've got to the end. They can't go any further.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And here we all are, this collection. Because people, they do that. So, I didn't know you did that. Yeah, this was part of my life. And, you know, we've done a lot of things.
It could be that St Leonards and Hastings are like, I think maybe that we're in purgatory. And we're all dead, actually. Yeah,
Interesting.
because it always seems like the like if I need to meet somebody, like if I need help with something, like I don't know, and it's always weird stuff. Like I need someone to film a recording session. That person just seems to walk by into the door.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I think it's well, we've got lots of ley lines here. We've got some really interesting ley line energy. So I think a lot of that is bringing. We're not going to go down the woo woo road, but it does be reassured.
What kind of podcast is this?
Be reassured, reader and viewer. But actually, energy-wise, it's a really funny place. Even if the humans weren't here, the energy would still be here. So it just draws people down. We saw people at Jack in the Green. Who were, in fact, that weekend, didn't we? We saw them in the Kings Road Market. Lovely couple, really nice couple. And they said, "We're just down here for the weekend from London."
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember, they had matching T-shirts, and I had to stop, of course. And I said, "Oh, you got the memo on the T-shirts," because they were wearing exactly the same colour. And you start a conversation, and they're like, "You live here?" I said, "Yeah. Yeah, I should work for the tourist board, by the way." And it's like, "What's it like?" I said, "Oh, it's great. It's crazy, but wonderful, you know, in the best possible way." And they went, "We're really thinking about it. We're thinking about it. We feel it." And then you go, "Yeah, definitely." And there was some at Jack in the Green, exactly the same sort of lovely energy. Oh, and they're going, "You're so lucky to live here. We're from London." I went, "I know, but there's a state called DFL that you can be down from London," which takes me neatly into the review of the last instalment in the hexology, that is the love affair between Noah and Lydia, Hastings Theatre Project, and it was written by Nadine Pasley. Chef's kiss when it comes to writing, really brilliant. It's like she lives in all of our lives, because you could see the people. They did this last instalment up on the ladies' parlour, the ladies' parlour on the top of the West Hill. So when you go to the West Hill and you go off the road and onto it, and then you go up the little incline, that lovely little bowl there is called the ladies' parlour. And it's where they sing in the May, they drum in all the solstices, they go and do all the stuff there. So it's quite a nice little bowl, so it's a nice little amphitheatre. And they did it up there, so there'll be photos, of course. It was just delightful. But watching these two, Tom Mesmer and Sharon Hayes are it's just a two-party ensemble on this. To see them go through this last bit of their six-parter. The last time I saw it, I got very involved, and someone pointed out, they said, you're very, very invested in this, because you can't not be. The writing is so good that you can imagine it's you. You really can. And there's a bit of a funny bit between, so Mr. Solanki's laughing, because each of these six parts were arguments about why they'd split up and why they were doing what they were doing. And Mr. S and I had a bit of a tiff before we were sitting in the breakfast zone, and there was this moment, and it wasn't the breakfast zone Issa, it was not the breakfast zone, and the food was delicious. There was a moment of friction. Yeah. And there was this it was like, are you coming with me or not? No, I'm not. Right, I'm going. And I just storm off, and then there's the phone rings. Rack says, this is ironic, we're going to see a play in half an hour that's all about two people having an argument. So what do you say we sort this out? And I'll get the car and we'll just...
Very mature.
How mature of him. So...
Did you sit together?
We did, and we laughed, and we actually did say that we'd had a bit of a tiff, didn't we? Yeah. And they laughed out loud.
Well, our argument lasted about 13 minutes. Theirs lasted how long?
A six-parter.
About a year, yeah. It was a year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So how long is each installment of this thing?
They're about 45 minutes, I think, but it's so well written, and because the whole thing's dialogue, it is incredibly intense, and I did write a bit here, and it says, I got very involved, and there were moments where I gasped audibly, and that was quite amusing because I didn't realise quite how audibly I'd gasped. And there was a moment where people were going,
"Are you okay?
Are you in this?" Oh no, but I'm so invested in this relationship between these two actors, and they're so good at what they do. These two people, so I know.
And they never miss a beat as well.
They don't.
It feels like it's a proper argument.
No lag, and you can feel And what they do is what is so clever is their thinking is done to the audience. So they'll look to the audience and say, so really, he's just been an I have to bleep that. It's the first time I've sworn. He's being and they will say that, and the audience are just sitting there like this. And then but I've got to make right, and then they speak to each other. So there's thinking of
like in their own head.
Yeah, in their own head, and then to each other. And you watch it switch, because when they're talking to the audience and they're in their own head, they're processing, and then they come out with something which is a bit more kind of honest or adult, or it's like, she does a lot of, he drives me crazy, and then she says to him, you know what, I do understand why I drive you crazy. And I thought that was beautiful, because it really does feel like you're actually it's in your own head.
Because when you're having an argument with somebody, you don't, it's very difficult to be self-effacing. So it's nice to see them modeling that. I mean, so is this a show that's over now?
It is.
Are they going to do it again?
I have no idea, actually.
Where was it?
Where was it? Mm-hmm. So it was all over town. So they chose the Bottle Alley for one. They chose Butler's Gap for another. They chose inside the Good Place, is it? The one on Havelock Road. So they've chosen different venues to do different parts.
You can argue anywhere.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Oh, totally. And it's all around the festival time. So it's either doing Bonfire Night, Jack in the Green, or one of the big events that we got going on, Pirate Day.
I think me and my wife could probably do a six-parter on arguments. We do it all over town. I tell you what, I'm going to create a WhatsApp group for this.
Oh, let's do it.
And I'll just drop locations when we argue.
Yeah,
and you guys hustle on over.
You know what?
Give you an audience.
Do you know? But we have been talking of arguments, though. We have been out in town where we have been in a full-on fest, haven't we? No, we need to sort it out now because we're not very good at putting a pin in something and waiting for later. And it's like, and there've been friends coming up the hill waving. Not now. We're having a row.
Yeah, can't talk right now. I had one of those today. I was not an argument, but I was walking here. I was late, as you know, and I walked. This guy tried to stop me. Owen, he used to work with HIP, or maybe he still does. I don't know.
Cool.
But I do need to chat to him, and he was trying to talk. He was trying to say hi and have sort of a hello, and I was like, sorry, I'm late to a podcast.
Yeah.
Is this a podcast?
It is something, yeah.
It
is.
And I was like, as I walked, he kind of looked at me confused and then said, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then he kept walking and I was like, that sounds like not true. Like, how can you be late to a podcast?
He's here, Owen. He's here.
It's not a lie.
We do have a slot though. We do have a time. Otherwise, we would be terribly. What do you call it? But going back to DFL very briefly, watch this space is all I'm going to say. Just watch this space. I'm not going to be drawn on any more of it. But watch it.
Okay.
Did you happen to do any Jack in the Greening this weekend?
No, my little ones are pretty difficult and at the best of times, and so it's the kind of thing where if I look this way,
chaos.
Jakob might go that way. He likes wherever we are in town. Jakob, he's the one that's nonverbal.
Yeah.
He knows where the sea is, and he tries to walk to the sea.
Of course, it draws him.
Wherever we are. We could be at the Priory Meadow, we could be on the East Hill or the West Hill. He'll if you leave him to his own devices, he'll just walk to the sea.
He's a little merman, isn't he?
Yeah. So no, we didn't get to do any. But one of these days we'll be painting ourselves green again.
Yeah.
And, taking part.
Aww.
Did you?
Yeah, it was insane. So we met the kids and my son who lives in Dorset and his wife came down and it was like, we're down. Ah! So it was really nice actually being with the family to do it. So you walk along the seafront because obviously you do the prom and we're walking along the prom. We met friends. We saw Dan and Lucia and was that Andrew, their friend? You can't remember the name, can you? Daniel? James. I knew it had an A in it. So, hi guys. Walking along, and all you can hear are guys and women on bikes. And wheelies, and lots of revving, and lots of engines, and all this.
Do they have to rev? Like, is it a function of the bike?
No, they don't. They really
don't. Are you a
don't.
biker? You seem like you might be.
I do not. No. That's a part of my past that's non-existent.
Non-existent.
It is part of Patsy.
It is.
You're a biker?
No, 2 husbands were bikers.
Oh.
I know. I collect husbands like people collect stamps.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sounds really
She'll be on to the next soon.
I know. Cashier number 3, please. No, we've been together a long time, darling. We're in for the long haul. But yeah. So it's part of my and I feel like I'm done with it, if you like. It doesn't give me the same sort of pleasure it used to. But all you can hear is this hang, and lots of, and our ears were like, oh. And then it's what's so beautiful is you just veer off, straight off when you get to the amusements and it's just, right, let's go, let's take a left. And they were getting the jack ready to release the jack from the Fisherman's Museum, and there were crowds. It gets more crowded down there now because it used to be nobody knew what was going on. It was all the wonderful ritual that goes on inside the museum. And then Jack comes out, they've got drummers and everything, but we were on Winkle Island, weren't we? And Dan and Lucia had never been, it was their first one, so it was like, we'll take you to where there's a really good spot. So we went up the high street, onto the raised pavement opposite the the Wellington, Duke of Wellington. And but that's our spot, by the way. Don't nick it. And they got this wonderful view of everything coming down. But what's weird is you go from all this man-made metal into foliage and fairies and giants and fiddle players, and they don't mix. It's like two different bodies of water. It's the weirdest thing. And when we were up on the West Hill, when we finally got up to the West Hill, there was this biker walking along with his helmet and his leathers. And I said, "You lost." He did laugh. I think he was trying to try out the other beer at the top. But it was just. I mean, this year they threatened nasty weather, but.
It worked out, didn't it?
Oh, it did. A couple of fat drops, but that was it. There was very little really, but. The vibe was.
That sounds like a beer.
What's that?
A fat drop.
The fat drop. Oh, yeah, you heard it here first. So, you know, the whole thing of the laurel and the ribbons and everyone getting so sort of ready, and the vibe was just beautiful. Absolutely, the procession was like a feast for the senses because you've got everything going on. So as soon as the jack starts coming down so it goes up All Saints, then comes down the High Street. You can feel the collective vibes, a bit like firework night. It's just like bonfire. It's just marvellous. So Brighton sang to us. I'm going to give a shout out to some of the people that came. So the Brighton, they were singing to us. London rang out their bells and waved hankies. Stroud in Gloucestershire. They were. Of a generous age, all of that troupe, weren't they? They came all the way, 6 hours from Stroud. They came all the way and they did this fantastic. They were just amazing. So they were a Morris side. You know what a Morris side is? That's what they call a Morris team.
A Morris side?
Mm.
Is it like a competition?
No, I don't think so.
Can you compete in Morris dancing?
I don't know. No idea.
Which side are you on,
Which
mate?
side? Yeah.
You have to be in the circle to find out.
Of a generous age.
And you
I
have
like
your battens and your sticks and your.
It's simulating
bells.
fighting, right? Morris
I
dancing?
think so.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's about. It's combat, but in a. Oh, actually, we might bring that up for history in time because sticks. Yes, we'll do that.
I wasn't there, but apparently Jonas, my littlest one, was in and amongst some Morris dancers on one occasion, just right under their feet.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I bet they loved that.
He got right involved.
Did he? No, that's great.
Future Morris dancer.
Yeah. So he needs some clogs and.
Is there an age limit to Morris dancing?
No.
You need to be over 50.
No. Because we've got new ones. We've got young people. So we've got so our Morris sides are Hastings RX and Hannah's Cat and Ruxley's Crew, but we've also got Reader's Dream, who the new ones. Hannah's Cat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and Reader's Dream are quite new side, all women, bonkers, and they danced for us, didn't they? They did a cuckoo something. I can't remember what it was called. A cuckoo something. We're going to do this for you, Patsy and Rak, and they just did it in front of us. But it was just beautiful. Rak heard on the tannoy, which was wonderfully church fete quality, which we love, you know. That people had come down from Leicester. You thought you heard Leicester?
I'm sure I heard Leicester.
Did you?
Yeah,
Not Gloucestershire. Oh, Leicestershire. Oh, okay. There was a Deptford contingent, which was brilliant. So, but shout out to Radiator Arts, who had this fantastic mushrooms and flowers. They make these wonderful things out of tissue and it looks like willow, but they're just phenomenal. We're so lucky with our people. Dende. So Dende, Mac from Dende. I don't know if they're still here, but they do have a London samba band, drumming band. They were phenomenal. Sambalanco, as usual, everyone in yellow, which was lovely. Lots of them. Old what's his name? I'm going to do this. Daniel. Oh, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? I can't think. Anyway, hello Pats, hello mate. Section 5 were out there.
I'll cut that bit out.
But you don't need to cut that bit out. Don't you cut anything out. It's fine. I'm going to say it again. I can't remember what his name is. But the ones that struck me, which really put on a show, were Raven. And it was the guy with the... Everybody knows this guy. So he had a blacked out beard and a green bald head and lots of horns. So on his head, he looked fantastic. And I had a hip flask, like you do, just normal size. He took out a hip flask that was this, I'm not exaggerating, it was massive and it was full of mead and I couldn't hear what he was saying. I thought he said, I've got mead, and I think, what, bleach? And he went, no woman, mead. Oh, and he gave me a swig. But it was just fantastic. You had... Jackie and the Queens, which was wonderful. They had a maypole, so they're celebrating the LGBTQ community, and it was wonderful. They had unicorns and knitted carrots. I mean, come along.
Knitted carrots?
Yes, mate. You heard me.
Okay.
Yeah, knitted carrots. I know.
Is it like each person was a carrot, or
no,
carrots over parts of their body?
Garland all round Arkham, all round his. Welcome to town, Arkham. It's lovely to have you. But it was just beautiful. Shout out to Keith Leach and Alan and the big team that pull all this together, because there's been a lot of hard work. So much hard work goes into this, because it goes off like it's just. And then when the procession was long and it was just glorious, we all got up to the West Hill, everyone loafing about and just really enjoying seeing each other, seeing a load of faces you haven't seen for ages. It's just so nice. Everyone comes out the woodwork. It's so lovely, celebrating spring and the end of winter. And but the bit that always gets me is the slaying of the jack. And when you hear the cheer, my eyes of, I'm not crying, you're crying kind of moment. You know, it's like, oh.
Something in my eye.
It's something in my eye. And it's how well this town does stuff, how well it does it. It really, really does it. So it's the skies were dramatic. It was just amazing. Yeah. Go Hastings, you're just magical. Yeah, brilliant. So you put on something which was pretty spectacular. We went to see.
What's that?
You did Hastings Tonight.
Oh, that was fun, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Lenny Beige. Yeah, no, it was that was a fantastic evening.
It was.
Something I've been working on or dreaming about really for years. And finally, I mean, since we're at the hall, we have an opportunity to try these wild ideas.
Yeah.
And that's one of them, is to create a sort of a Tonight show, sort of but with a local theme. And it's something we want to do on a regular basis. Our next one's on June 13th.
I know, it's in the diary.
Unfortunately, Lenny can't do that one.
Okay.
But we've got a fantastic host. I can't tell you who it is yet. We haven't announced it yet.
Don't.
And some really great guests coming. But it's gonna be another corker, a corker.
A corker.
As they say.
It was a corker and a stonker. And we featured this when we reviewed it. But I loved the fact that everyone was sitting there, and you had Rufus Stone, the band. Joel White was in there. He's so good. I like him a lot. And the brass section. So as soon as the compares do whatever they're doing, they
walking on and off music. Yeah.
I know.
Come on, it's good.
It was
nice
so
stuff.
good, and you were.
They were so great, by the way. I didn't have to tell them anything. They just turned up and nailed it.
They're so professional, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
Great
you were the mixologist.
Yeah.
You got the drinks.
I wasn't sure what I was going to do on the show, you know.
No.
Up until the time it started. Then I was like, I think the only job to do is pour drinks for people.
Oh.
So I went from working the bar in the back for the customers to working the bar on the stage for the guests.
For the guests. It was just beautiful. And you get to hear... it's a bit like when we do what we're doing here, really. People get to know a bit more. You're not just a name that pops up all the time, or somebody who's putting on an event. You get to know about what makes them tick, and because you had Mel, didn't you? You had Chris Young, didn't you, from the the comedy, and I'm trying to think who else you had.
Josephine. What's her last name?
Yes.
I keep wanting to say the wrong last name.
Yes.
Josephine. Oh.
I can't remember now. This comedian, the black comedian, she was amazing, wasn't she?
Can I look it up?
Have a look her up.
What?
And you had Josh
Weller.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it's a bit like Wogan. I miss Wogan, because when Wogan, I don't know if you were here when Wogan was on. Wogan was on telly, so every you had 3 nights a week. Wogan would be on. So Terry Wogan would sit there, and he would, like Michael Parkinson, he would interview people, and you got to know what was going on. And that this is the thing about when you sit there and listen to, because you've got them all happening in America, haven't you? You've got every night of the week you've got somebody interviewing someone, haven't you? But here we've got Graham Norton and Jonathan Ross. It doesn't do it for me, but Graham Norton does. But it's tiny little bits of information, whereas you know.
Yeah, you can.
It was more generous, I think.
I think that was the part that I liked the most, really. Like, and as somebody that's sort of working in the culture scene here, I thought it was really great to learn from City that she deeply wants to make a record. It's not something I knew.
No.
And my hope is that we can do something.
Siddy Bennett, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some really good talent in this town. We a lot of people. This is why we sort of bring it out, really, so that people get to
Our town has plenty.
Our town. Oh, that's very good. It does. That was not scripted. As none of this is scripted, as you know. So it was a really, really good event, and yes, we'll be plugging this. We'll be plugging it now. So June 13th.
June 13th.
If you haven't blocked that night out in your diary, because it's Henry Ward Hall.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about Henry Ward Hall, because
you've
been there now.
Yeah, the hall. I've been there, bringing events, curating events, and running events there for a little over a year and a half now.
Wow.
But it's connected to His Place Charity. It used to be called Opus Theater when
That's right.
Polo Piatti was running it, and COVID sort of killed that off. And they wanted a fresh start once the world got back to normal. And our goal is to. Polo's angle was more classical. I think the stuff that I bring will be a little more on the Americana side and the community, like taking community events to sort of blurring the line between like a professional touring show and a community event.
Absolutely.
By putting community people with touring artists and things along those lines.
Well, people you wouldn't expect to see, because Mickey Blanco was there, and that was like, wow.
Yeah, and that came together in a week. You know,
that's astonishing.
And in a town like this, there's lots of great venues.
I know.
There's sort of a growing interest amongst entertainers and thought leaders and stuff.
Yeah.
That Hastings is kind of starting to be on the map, which is good.
We're becoming a cultural destination for music, in a really, really big way, and you know, not least by bringing all the people with the festivals. But I think the fact that you've got a static venue which says, right here, this is where it's happening. So I love it. And
this is where it's happening.
It is, but the acoustics in there are just magical.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
It's a beautiful, it was built in 1894, I think. And it just, to me, it's kind of like the Ryman. And I know when I say Ryman over here, you guys think postcard shop or stationery shop. But in Nashville, the Ryman Theater, it's actually a 3,000-seater, the Ryman.
Sure.
And this is much smaller.
Yeah.
But
feel,
same kind of thing. Nice high ceilings.
Yeah.
Wood, lots of wood. The acoustics are great. It's not echoey like a lot of the older sort of stone churches are.
No, sure.
And it's always been a free church, is my understanding. And it's always sort of been a little bit not quite under the thumb of the wider church.
Yeah, sure.
I guess.
A bit more accepting and progressive.
Yeah. So it's exactly the kind of space where the community can gather and listen and learn and sing and
absolutely.
Yeah.
And people don't, you know, Kath and I laugh about this. We say it's diagonally across from Tintins. So if you look at Tintins, if you know French's and Tintins, all those Robertson Street bars and places where you go. Yeah, French's. Yeah, they're relaunching, aren't they? They're relaunching French's, aren't they? So in my memory, it's the one that's tucked in on the left hand side as you look across. Barnaby's adjacent.
Can I mention something?
Yeah,
about the whole? We have a couple great shows coming this month. We have Jaron Paxton on May 17th. He came last year. He was just on Jules Holland this past fall. Fantastic blues musician. What I thought, I mean, obviously he's a brilliant musician. He plays the fiddle, the banjo, and I mean like an old gut-strung banjo with no frets, like it's the original banjo. Wow. Piano, sings, plays harmonica, amazing harmonica player. So just his musicianship is top shelf. Wow. But what I found really interesting about the show is that he tells the story of the American, how the Delta blues came together and how they've and sort of gives the outline as to how it's affected the music we listen to today. But he does it all in the context of his own family. And so it's very much like you go in expecting to hear some music, but you leave having learned something as well. And it's really special.
It's wholesome.
And then on May 31st, we have Benoit Villafone. He's bringing his Hot Club.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that's somebody I do know about, but I'm going to have to come on because 17th of May is my birthday.
Are you coming?
I'd like to go.
Okay.
I'd really like to go.
Hint.
Hint like house brick. That sounds wonderful because I'd love that. That sounds like a big part of me. Yeah. So Benoit. Yeah.
I think that's the 31st.
Nice.
Yeah, but if you're interested in either thing, you can go to henrywardhall.com.
Nice.
Or you can go to mikeslist.uk.
Nice.
That's true for the Hastings Tonight show as well.
No, that's lovely. So we'll have all those details underneath, so you can watch them.
Thank you.
Oh no, I'm loving that because we actually saw you at the Curious Town Plays. You were up there on the gantry across. Wasn't that an interesting evening?
Yeah. What a weird show. I was singing down at people.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
Playing. It's my first show on a bridge.
On a bridge. It was great.
Yeah.
So that takes us neatly into, because we had Mia here, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, when she was talking about the gender and the Curious Town Plays. So they did a soft launch last week, and Jamie and I and Rak went, and yes, it was madness. Teletubbies. So I've got a little list of things that I've got here. So we started with Blair playing the piano outside Priory Meadow, which was really hilarious, and Kevin Armstrong was on.
You sort of look like you should sit on his lap and tell him what you want for Christmas.
It was really funny. So there they were playing, and then we went to Heart Playing and Bubbles by the beautiful murals outside, and I refuse to call it Owen's, it's Debenhams, and there, roller skating ballerinas that looked like they'd got loose from their jewellery boxes, that was the lovely Dolly Delicious, and brightly coloured Teletubbies. So we had country guitar, we had frantic gypsy fiddles and beautiful voices, and art installations. It was lovely. So that's Jamie's partner, Amanda, did a lot of the lovely art installations. They had a DJ, didn't they? In a DJ booth with glitter and disco balls and lovely front. It was lovely. Thousands of
something for everyone. Really.
It was thousands of pink ping pong balls, and the food was wonderful, and the bar. And then there's an app that you can follow. Now it sounds Curious Town, as we showed you when we showed you the. Have I got one in here? She says, looking in her bag. Oh yeah, here we are. Look at this. She's always got a prop. So the Curious Town Plays. So the proper launch is this Friday, so the 9th. So from 6 till 11, get yourself down St Andrew's Mews. St Andrew's Mews, if you don't know, it's the old St Andrew's Market, which you literally get to opposite Marks and Spencer's, walk across the road, down the little steps, and then you're into the Wonderland. So if last week was anything to go by...
It's like a whole month of things, right?
It's a whole month of things. So they've got installations all over. So if you take the app or get one of these are all over town, wonderfully provided by Mia and the team. And just go and check it out, because if it's anything like the vibe last week and they're ramping it up again, it'll be crazy, bonkers, but wonderfully too, you know. So
Did you know that all Teletubbies are twins, apparently?
They're all twins.
Yeah, I thought that two of the girls that were Teletubbies looked like they might actually be twins. And so I asked them if they were twins. And as she was smoking her cigarette, she was on a smoke break. She said, all Teletubbies are twins.
Yes.
And I was like, yes. Yeah. And that was the end of the conversation, really.
Yes. Yeah. They were very funny. They were hilariously funny, and they had Etch-a-Sketch type things, didn't they? Around their bellies, and that you could write messages on. This is the stuff of bonkers dreams and weird. Oh, I wonder what would happen if, and they actually make it happen. So and the lovely Simon. Oh, we talked about Lego, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? Going to the Lego. Adult Lego, which sounds a little bit sinister, but it wasn't. It was just adults with Lego, no children. Although I think children were involved at the end, which is... Anyway, so fine, but we did adult Lego, and Simon, we met Simon and Emma, and they were at the event. It's Simon who's behind most of the things that are built. So if you look at anything Curious Town, you look at the phone boxes, you look at the disco mice, you look all the little, have you seen disco mice outside? Oh, I know. Disco mice, little box of little disco mice in next to St Leonards Church.
Are they actual mice?
They're little wooden mice. Okay. They're not, no mice were harmed in this event.
Disco mice or house mouse?
Well, it was house mouse was the house mouse, but they are disco mice. They're house.
I don't want to mix a disco scene in a house scene.
There's a. Oh, okay, all right.
Racks on it.
He's being a pedant. He likes this. He's a very Leo guy. You're Leo. You're not Scorpio.
Scorpio.
They are, of course they are, darling. All right, calm down, smooth your feathers. But it's great. So all these, it's a house mouse. It's all music to me, dear. I'm old enough to turn around and say that to you now. But it's beautiful. All these things Simon makes. So hats off to Simon and the crew and everybody.
It's a huge undertaking.
It is huge, but it covers your imagination, which I think is really important. Get all your imagination in there. So thanks, Curious Town, Curious Agenda, Curious Crew. We'll see you on Friday. On the food, go. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle you go to, it's delicious. Because you sampled...
I had the tacos.
Yeah, the tacos, and they looked delicious. And I was so tempted, because you came over and said, have a fish taco. And I went, my food's just coming out, but it didn't come out for a little while.
I ended up rehoming that taco with someone else.
You did, I saw you do it. And that was lovely. Dean, it was nice. But the food, go, because the people work very hard, and check that out. So with a bit of luck, we're going to have the lovely, I've got his name on my phone, Sonny, his surname is it David? Is it David Sonny? Who took over St Andrew's Market and turned it into the Mews, turned it into this magical place now that it feels much more conducive to the town. But he's really ramped it up, and
he's got good ideas. He's a mover and a shaker. I think.
Very much so.
He was whipping together the tacos as well.
Yes, I know that man. He's got many hats, so I admire that greatly. Yeah, good for him. He's good at all things. So so that was crazy, wasn't it? Because you were up there playing with.
I had my apples and oranges gang. Do you know what that is?
No,
Okay.
tell me.
So Apples and Oranges, it's happening tonight actually. Oh, well, this is filming. This will be showing Thursday.
This will be shown on Thursday,
Okay.
so this is happening Wednesday.
It happened yesterday. Yeah, so the first and third Wednesdays of each month, I have, it's an open mic in that anyone can perform, but we all sit in a circle.
Yeah.
And everybody has an opportunity to share.
Sure.
We have like a question of the night, and so even if you're just there to watch and listen, you have an opportunity to share something about yourself. And some of the most interesting things have come from that. But it's a lot of music, but it's not just music. We've got poets that come every time. We've read scripts together, and done, we'll do a scene in someone's play they're working on. But we call it Apples and Oranges because you just can't compare apples and oranges.
No, they're round, and that's where the similarity
they're
is.
all delicious.
They're all delicious.
But yeah, so it's the first and third Wednesday, and if anybody wants to get on the list to perform or come check it out.
Sure. Am I on that list?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
I'd like to be.
You can.
Because I'd love to come.
Will you come do something?
Yeah.
What will you do?
I don't know, love. I could do anything.
Have a think.
I'll have a think.
No, tell me now.
No.
We can have an argument.
We could have an argument.
That's it. Yeah. That'll be a first. Apples and oranges, man.
Exactly. But no, I love that. I think it's yeah.
But yeah, so I had
It's
those guys, like some of the people that come all the time and are some of the standout performers for the group. We had them come and do the Curious Town thing, and we're going to be doing another Apples and Oranges showcase at the Goat Ledge in July.
Nice.
And so you'll see it popping up around town.
Excellent. So I need to know about that because that's something we can promote. Definitely.
Come have an argument.
Come down. What, the 15 minutes or the full half hour? That's the thing, isn't it?
You'll have to keep it to 5.
A little bit of Monty Python there. Yeah, no. Yeah. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, but this is the thing about our creativity in this town, isn't it? You don't know how creative you are until you've given yourself an opportunity to do it. And it's a bit like jumping in, isn't it?
Yeah.
You jump in and just say, "Oh, I'll do that."
That's it. And this is the platform to do that that night. It's first and third Wednesday of the month. At the shop.
At the shop on Norman Road. So last week we touched on the Deluxe. Now, if I say the Deluxe to you, do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna need Deluxe.
The Deluxe, are you? Because that intense coffee that you're drinking.
It's wicked coffee.
The Deluxe is the Deluxe. Right, but
like
locals call it the Deluxe. They've always called it the Deluxe for some reason.
The X is silent.
Is that do the French say Deluxe? I don't know if they actually do. Because if Kath was sitting here, she'd know. So we showed you an old picture, which we'll have another old picture, which will be popping up now. So I got on to Lee Kennedy of Historical Hastings Historians on Facebook, and he said, as long as you share and credit us with all the information, we're very happy for you to share stuff. So he was very, very generous with that. Thank you, Lee. So our Deluxe used to be the Empire Theatre of Varieties. What a lovely name, the Empire Theatre of Varieties. Built in 1899, about the same time as Henry Ward Hall. Designed by Ernest Runce. Mari Lloyd, the famous music hall star, she was on the first billing. I think they had a special matinee for her to do that so she could accommodate 2 gigs. So, very busy woman. And do you know, so a girlfriend of mine, because it became the, Patsy, spit your words out, it became the Hippodrome later, and a girlfriend of mine, Francesca, she said, do you know why they were called the Hippodrome? She said, it had because you could get horses in there. And I said, when I looked it up, they called places Hippodrome because they were bragging about their size, because Hippodrome is something big enough to cater horses. You couldn't have put horses in our theatre. They would not have, in the Deluxe, they would not have fitted. But that's where the Hippodrome comes from. So it was the Empire Theatre of Varieties at the beginning, then it went to the Hippodrome, then it converted again in 1912 to the Royal Cinema Deluxe, which then it became the Deluxe.
Where is this?
It's on the seafront, opposite the Crazy Golf. So you know where the Crazy Golf is on the seafront?
Yeah.
The bingo hall, as we affectionately know it, and it's got amusements inside. So as you walk down towards the entrance to George Street from going east, it's the big orange canopy.
Near where the accidental fire happened, right? Is it right there?
Yes.
Okay.
As you would, yes. The accidental fire. Yes. So, yes, we're not saying anything. We don't know. We just hear rumours. And that's all it is. And also, Odeon, look, you know?
Yeah.
Odeon is a place for singing. That's why, that's why they call them Odeons. So all these little bit of history, little bit of education, you know, we like to sprinkle the podcast with little bits of nonsense. So, so the photo that you're going to see up behind me is one of the last photographs. He goes on after, darling.
Okay.
You did the right thing by looking at it.
Bless your heart. We pepper them with photos. So the photograph that you see is one of the last photographs of the existing photographs. If anyone's got any more, please can you dig them out, of the inside of the theatre, and you can see it's got a board and it's got some other bits and pieces, but it's not terribly wide. The theatre inside, before it was gutted, because it was gutted in the 60s, to turn it into a bingo hall, which is what it's been since. And
do they actually play bingo there?
right, but bingo starts again. They shut the bingo down in 2023 and it's opening again in June. So the bingo hall is back and running. Yes, the Deluxe bingo. But this lovely photograph is one of the few that people have actually found. So, and you can see the boxes down both sides, the lovely like royal boxes, and the.
I feel like I should look at it.
I know. I know. And there's a board here. There's a kind of like the whiteboard I have there. It's there, and then they've got a stand. So they had some sort of clapometer or something. You know, they were, yeah. But aren't enough photographs of that wonderful building before it started to get completely gutted, the whole lot. What a shame. But yeah, a little bit of history. Yes, Greyskull coffee. So,
I love how you're reading your own handwriting.
I know, it's poor. But, so the guys came over while we were at the Curious gig last week. And so these lovely guys, so Sean and Daniel have been, and Dog Whiskey, mustn't forget Dog Whiskey, little Dog Whiskey, have been running a countdown on their business of when they're going to open the coffee and barbecue brunch at Greyskull down at St Andrew's Mews, and they're opening on Sunday. That's it. So
it's time.
I know. So they're going to be outside, cooking outside. Their menu is extraordinary. I couldn't see anything on there for people who don't eat meat. But I didn't look very hard. They probably do have stuff that for that. But they're sold out for this weekend. However, you can go down and buy yourself a pastry, have a cup of coffee, and sniff the air, because I've everything for me. 40 would not have been a thing if I couldn't stand outside and go, that smells interesting. To me, I'm guided by my schnoz. It does all the work.
Yeah, it's a good way to.
Yeah.
They say follow your nose.
Follow your nose. They do actually. I've never thought about that. So you could, if you wanted to, you could go down and just buy a pastry, because they make them themselves.
What's dog whiskey? Seems like it's dangerous.
Their dog. That should see it.
Dog, whiskey.
Whiskey. Dog whiskey.
One time I was. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So. I was living in Nashville, and we were having a session. So in Nashville, we'd get all our buddies together that were musicians, and it was like our favorite thing to do on a weekend night. We'd pass around a bottle of whiskey and a guitar, and everybody would share the songs they'd written that week or whatever. And I was drinking my Jack Daniels, and it was my turn to play, so I put my glass down and played. And my dog, Little John, looked down, and he drank, like at least half a shot of whiskey, and he's like 25 pounds soaking wet. So he's since moved on, but he survived this one. But he drank the whiskey, and I was like, oh, do I need to like take him to the emergency vet or something? And he started. I didn't in the end, but he was just walking along, and I saw him just kind of
crabbing.
And he just went to sleep right there in the middle of everyone.
He slept it off.
Yeah, dog whiskey.
Oh my God. There we go. What a beautiful story.
So it's not, their dog is called whiskey.
Their dog is called whiskey.
They don't have dog whiskey.
No, they do have bar though. Yeah, they do mimosas and all sorts.
So it's coffee and barbecue?
Coffee and, I know.
What a weird combination.
I know, but I think like anything really, anyone who's opening up anything, they're sticking coffee shops in all of it so that people don't have to eat the big thing. They can take the little thing.
Yeah,
they can partake.
that's exciting.
Small.
I'm a barbecue snob though.
Well, he's got, okay, so yeah, now I am too. And I know we've got several American friends here who are exactly that for good reasons, I think. So they have Deux pig bellies. They're raised. Excuse me. So they come from on the Pevensey levels, so not far away. And these pigs naturally grow slower and develop thicker bellies with sweeter fat. So which makes incredible bacon. So he's bought a bacon slicer. So he's doing everything. They're doing it all really, really well. How these guys are doing it, and they've been practicing with different woods for smoking, and they do smoked eggs.
Weird.
I know.
I'm gonna have to try it.
Wonderfully bougie, I think. So and also what I love is the fact they're creative. And they won it for me. Anyone who's creative with anything. Have you been to Tonka yet?
Tonka?
No. So Tonka, she's somebody I think we ought to get on actually as a guest. I'm yet to sample, but I live vicariously through her Instagram account, which makes me dribble. So that they're down on.
What do they do?
The woman's a bit of a magician, really. She's a bit of a wizard. Food, obviously, but she makes lots of things out of things you wouldn't, puts things together you wouldn't expect. So I can't bring anything to mind apart from the fact that she had amazing noodles this weekend, which I wish I'd tried, but we ate different food.
Have you tried sumiso ramen?
What, from anywhere in particular?
I think it's like a night they do every week at Stooge Coffee and
yes, Kev's talked about that. Are they good?
I haven't been,
no.
But I'm hearing great things.
I love ramen. I'm a big. Get me in that bowl.
We should go have a ramen. You want to go have a ramen?
Let's do it.
We could have a ramen and an argument.
Oh, do you remember Erica? We used to have a noodle night. There'd be a noodle night. That back in the day, Erica Smith. Should we go for noodles? And I just like noodles, me. I'll eat.
The noodles. Yeah. Who doesn't like a noodle?
Who doesn't like a noodle? They're just very. What is it? Slurpy food. The ASMR food now.
Like you don't have. There's no pride in slurping a noodle. We're all the same human when you're.
You just have to watch
There's no etiquette.
No, it goes in your eye. But it's all you can hear is mom, 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 mom. It's just it's good. I love food, as everybody knows. So check out Greyskull, everybody down at St Andrew's Mews. They're lovely, lovely, lovely people and really welcoming.
Sold out this weekend though.
Sold out, yeah, sold out for the food, but it'll give you an idea about next week. What could I eat?
Just go and hang out.
Just go and hang out. Yeah, exactly. Actually, they're probably going to be there on Friday. So, what else is happening in your world? And when did you come here, just out of interest? I'm interested.
What, to Hastings or to England?
Well, all of it, really.
So in 2015, I moved here. My wife had immigrated, and I was on the road. And she'd just come home. My ex-wife is British, and we have 2 kids together. And I had been on the road, and when I got here, it was clear the marriage was over. So I arrived here in 2015, and kind of had to start over. Best thing that's ever happened to me, though.
Oh.
And I lived in Pevensey, or just north of Pevensey, in a village called Wortling. I lived in a Cold War era radar bunker. Wild.
How exciting.
And then
I'll
started playing.
I'll get that. Shall I get that?
Is it somebody at the door?
It's our guest, yeah.
Oh,
It's our next bit. Don't worry.
Okay. Do you want me to keep telling the
You
story?
keep telling, keep talking. I'll just let her in.
Pause it and then I'll.
Okay.
I'll
Are you going to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's fine. Gives me a break as well.
Right.
You were.
I was telling you the story of my
telling
life.
the story of Pevensey. So you were Wortling in a bunker. We got to the bunker.
Yeah. Well, so I lived in Wortling, but my ex-wife had always told me when I was coming over to play in the UK, never to go to Hastings. So pretty much the moment we split, I decided I was going to come play music in Hastings.
Cool.
And I started playing an open mic, and that became a weekly thing. That very first open mic, I knew I was in a special place because first they weren't going to let me play because the list was already full before the night had started.
Sure.
And in the end, he was like, "Okay, well, you can, if we have time at the end, you can play." And I was like, "Okay, I'll stick around." So I played, and these other musicians had just finished playing at Seed. They joined in with me, and next thing you know, this open mic at the end of the night, it turned into a total jam dance party. Everybody was like, it was shots were being poured, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
You bought the party.
I'm here.
Yeah. Well, you arrived.
And that instantly became a weekly thing, which became a really happening night at the Whistle Traco. But then I met Eva through that, my wife, and we made a baby in Wortling, and then the house suddenly felt a little bit small, and we felt a little bit isolated out there. So we made the move to Norman Road in 2020. And opened the shop that year, just before COVID. I got in just under the wire.
Wow.
And it's been an amazing ride since then. I've never felt more connected to a community, or a clearer purpose for my life.
Do you know, it feels like you've been here a lot longer though, because your imprint is a really strong, deep one. Here, you people, everybody knows who you are. You know.
I'm the only American wearing flip-flops in the winter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, in winter.
I've been in. Hastings is an amazing place, and I've been so blessed I think I can really appreciate it, because I lived in Key West, and it's a similar sort of thing, and Nashville's this vibrant cultural place. And so this just feels like home. Yeah. I feel like I've always been here.
It's embraced you, but I think what Mike does is embrace the town, and I think that's what you get absolutely right, because you don't want to change it, you just want to bring you to it.
I just want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's this thing, isn't it, when we're like excited about it, and we want to do things, and we want to facilitate something. When someone says, "Oh, I'd like to do," people don't say no. They just go, "Sure, when? What do you need?"
Yeah. How do we get it done?
How do we get it done? How do we get involved? Do you need any help with that? And I think that's what makes this.
Yeah, and that's not. I mean, it's not like that everywhere.
I was going to say exactly that.
You know, and it's also like, it's also true that when someone says, "Hey, I have an idea to do something in this town," it just seems like it's usually a good idea.
Yeah, sure. They found a hole.
And in Hastings, you don't. One thing, I mean, I've had some things work out really well, and I've had other things not work out great. And the thing about Hastings that I learned as a shopkeeper is that only bring us the real stuff.
Sure.
Because it doesn't matter if it's shiny and new looking, if it's crap and mass produced or that sort of, extend that to whatever you like. But if it's not authentic and real, people don't want to hear about it here, which is a great challenge to meet. I think for people that are creative or even shopkeepers, find great stuff. Really think about it. It's not just a place where you just whack it up and hope for the best.
No. We're quite a discerning crowd, aren't we? I think we're like children's television. You can't just put any old rubbish in front of a kid and let them be entertained. They want to see stuff, otherwise they get bored really quickly. And I think we're
children.
We are children. There's no doubt. We've got the minds of children, and so we expect things to be good. We expect things to taste nice. We expect things, and that doesn't. It's not meant to be harsh. It is. We are a discerning audience, and I think it's important. But those who bring good stuff, we are all over it, aren't we? We're very much all over it, and we will spend our last dollar on that. And have
I welcome as someone that brings events here. I welcome that challenge.
Yeah.
It keeps all of us honest.
Yeah, honest. Oh no, I love that. I've got one more thing to because Dominique Gerard, who's our guest today, she's just popped in. You can come back in, darling, anytime you like. Here she comes. Hello.
I was being discreet.
She was being discreet. Don't be discreet. Take a seat in the green room,
I will.
sweetheart, and you'll be on in a bit. So I've got one more little bit to add, but it's a lovely big chunk actually. So Pablo McFee, do you know Pablo?
I don't know Pablo.
Oh, you guys have got to meet.
Do I know Pablo?
You're both musical and creative, so. And Reg Hendrickse are putting on Deepak Ram at.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a bit shocked because when JC got in touch and she said, Pats, Deepak Ram, I went, oh. And the reason I go, is because he is a Bansuri flute player. Now, if you're interested in any Indian music or any ambient kind of Ibiza type music, Rack's going to say to me, it's not called that. What is it called? What is it? I don't know. But you'll tend to find lots of Bansuri flute is used on dance tracks and ambient tracks. But for me, when I met Rack and Rack's family, his mum's a massive Bollywood fan. He really intense Bollywood fan. Hi, Mum. And I learned my Bollywood education through her, and from the old school, really old school, and the music for me, it just touches me in a place that I cannot describe. It just makes me want to weep, and it makes me want to. It's haunting and mournful, but it captures the mood. It always does, and it can be light-hearted or really intense. So, Deepak Ram, I thank you for the education, Mum, because it will stay with me for life. And Deepak Ram is his event at Christchurch, which does have beautiful acoustics. He's putting on an evening of classical Indian music.
Wow.
I know. So there'll be doubler and another, because they usually come in threes when they do classical. So tickets available. Thank you, JC, for getting in touch. Really appreciate it. So they're available at Bus Stop Studios in London Road, Sugar Pie Honey Buns in London Road near the Tower Pub, so up at that corner near Mudworks, the Dandelion Deli in Kings Road, the Bank Hotel and Bistro by Warrior Square Seafront on the front there. Or you can come on the door, because the acoustics there will be outrageously good. Perfect for that. So he's also doing a jazz night in Barnaby's the next day. So this will be Saturday the 10th for Christchurch at 7 o'clock. So I really want to go.
Yeah, so he
really
played
wanna
the
go.
shop like a year and a half ago, maybe.
My God, he loves it here, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, it was like early in the days of doing shows in the shop, and it was so it wasn't a huge crowd. But he was, I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah.
But just an amazing performer. You like felt totally. I think with a lot of jazz and classical musicians, you can feel a little bit like in awe or like I don't know. He just made everybody in the room feel like it was a safe space.
Sure.
Very very generous with me and friendly. I'm really pleased. I saw recently that he was coming back, and it's definitely not. It's a show you need to go to.
No, you do need to go because he's that's one of those that when people say, "Oh, I wish I'd gone," go. So you've got two opportunities this weekend, but Barnaby's is smaller, so it's gonna be a little bit more demanding, I think. But to go and see him at Christchurch. Can we go on Saturday? Thank you. We will go. So we will see you there, JC and Pablo. So so I'm well up for that. Yeah, they just come, don't they, the musicians?
Mm-hmm.
And we're so lucky. We're so lucky. Yeah.
So, do I go now? And
Well,
we have the other guest.
Yeah, the other guest. I would like to thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wind up?
No, I mean, I think I guess I can tell you that we're going to be launching Hastings' first Jazz Fest on October 4th.
Oh, really?
This year we got some amazing names. A couple of the bigger acts we're still confirming and contracting, so I can't tell you too much.
No.
But it's going to be a really great one-day event this year, and we're planning on doing 3 days next year.
Did you say the 10th of the 10th?
Sorry, no, 4th of October.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, the first Saturday. And so the plan is to make it an annual thing. And if you want sort of updates on that, you can come to mikeslist.uk.
Excellent.
Or you can get on my WhatsApp group. If I can I can send you a link if people want to join
yeah,
that
of
way.
course. No, absolutely.
And lots of things happening over the summer. Really exciting developments at the hall to announce shortly, and also the shop is going to start rolling, and we're doing some recording there and stuff like that. So
exciting.
It's a great time.
Are we lucky? We're very lucky to have you.
I'm very lucky to be here.
No,
it's fertile ground.
It is absolutely. It is very fertile.
Our town has plenty.
Oh. Mike, you've been a star. Thank you, darling, for stepping in. I really, really appreciate it. Let's cheers this.
Cheers.
And thank you, everybody.